It's the Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
Pop into the school and just sort of tap on the door of reception and you can say, we just wanted to know if we could go for a walk around the school, maybe have a tour, maybe meet one or two people so that my little one feels secure.
And now here's the stars of our show, my mum and dad.
Hello everybody, happy Monday. This is Dr. Justin Coulson, the founder of happyfamilies.com.au. I'm here with Kylie, my wife and mum to our 6 children, as we get ready for Queensland schools heading back. Our kids getting their uniforms, their shoes, last minute dashes to the shops over the weekend. This week for everyone else around the country, it's going to be your opportunity to get that done. But today on the podcast, we wanted to talk about preparing first timers. We've got little kids that are going to school for the first time, little kids that are going to preschool for the first time, maybe some kids that are starting a brand new school. Because there's been movement across the summer, across the holidays, and we thought it'd be useful to share a couple of ideas to help with anxiety and nerves and the challenges associated with being a first-timer on a big day at school with the year kicking off.
So the other day, this feels like a little bit of a tangent, but stay with me.
Yeah.
The other day, I took our 20-year-old out to buy her first pair of Doc Martens.
Right.
So she heads off to England for 18 months next month.
Yeah, we've only got, in fact, it's about a month today.
And Doc Martens aren't her usual choice of shoe, but she needs a good, sturdy walking shoe. Pretty much will be the only shoe she has for 18 months.
Yeah.
And these have been highly recommended.
And it needs to be weatherproof because she's going to be in the northeast of England, so cold.
And as she put them on, and I looked at her, She said, "Is everything okay, Mum?" And I just completely teared up. And it reminded me, this is a massive milestone in her life.
Yeah.
And for any parent going through first timer starting school, it can be such an emotional time. And seeing your little 5-year-old in their school uniform for the first time. Do you remember when Lily...
Oh, it's heart melting.
Lily was our shortest little one, and so everything there was no space between her socks that had to be pulled up and her shorts because her little legs were so small.
That's right.
And there is so much emotion around it, and it's such a joyful and exciting time. But for a parent, there's so much anxiety around, what that first day is going to look like. So today, let's talk about a few things that we can do to help children and mums and dads get through those things with ease.
So we've done first days with 6 children now in terms of starting school or starting daycare, but also with starting new schools. We've moved a handful of times, as long-time listeners of the podcast would know. So we've really been through this a lot. I want the bulk of our conversation to be about kids starting big school for the first time, but I'm sure that there'll be a lot in here that's useful for any other context. Okay, so if you've got your 4 or 5-year-old who's heading off to school, these are the things that we think that you should know. The first thing that I want to mention is, to the extent that it's possible, help them to be familiar with the school. There's something, so everyone craves predictability. Everyone craves a sense of security, a sense of knowingness. We want to know where we're safe. We want to know what's going on. And I know that it might be too late for many families, but there'll be plenty of people who are listening to this right now whose kids start school, I don't know, tomorrow or the day after or next week sometime, which gives you the opportunity to pop into the school today or tomorrow or sometime in the next few days and just sort of tap on the door of reception. They will be there and you can say, we're starting the school, we're brand new. We just wanted to know if we could go for a walk around the school, maybe have a tour, maybe meet one or two people so that my little one feels secure and knows where the toilets are and knows where I'm going to pick them up each afternoon and has a sense of what's going on. That predictability, that sense of security is huge for helping kids feel less anxious. And we've both done it and not done it. And the times that we've done it, it's worked out so much better for our kids.
Well, and I think that schools are getting better and better at dealing with this orientation. Very often you'll have an opportunity for your kids to go to school for half a day with all of their new classmates for the following year. And get to meet their teacher and see that space. And it creates a sense of excitement because there's all this new stuff to play with. And, I actually like that little girl over there or the little boy or whatever. So being able to kind of tap into anything that's available from a school perspective to help you navigate those early first days is going to be really important. But even just, going for a drive past the school. If the school's within driving distance, and that's what you're going to do, then taking a drive every day, go past the school. This is what we do.
Or if
there's your school.
Yep. Or if you're going to be walking or riding a bike, actually do it, practice it, let them know the way that it goes. And like you said, it builds that, I can hear it in your voice, it builds that anticipation. It's something to look forward to.
And I think that that's so important as parents. Like, there is so much anxiety around leaving your child for the first time at big school. It's a big deal. You've gone from having a child that, for all intents and purposes, has been with you 24/7, and all of a sudden you're going to put it in someone else's care for 5 days of the week.
With hundreds of other kids.
More time.
And some of them are so big. Like those year sixes.
So different, so different. And the child-adult ratio changes.
Yep.
So there is so much to think about, but just creating the anticipation and excitement around all of the new experiences that you'll get to have will go a long way to helping your child get through that first day.
Okay, so I want to share something really practical as my second idea, and that's just make sure that the school shoes are worn in. Like, it's a small thing, but if they're wearing, especially the black standard school shoe that so many schools require as part of the uniform, they're going to get sore feet. They're going to feel horrible if they're wearing them for the first time on the first day of school. So get them to wear them for an hour or two, a couple of times this week, a couple of times here and there. Not all day, just a bit here and a bit there. Wear the shoes in.
Well, even letting them wear their uniforms. It might mean that the uniform gets dirty and they're going to have to be washed before school goes back the first day or whatever. But again, allow them to have that experience and be excited about that. I actually had a visual right then of baby number 3. She wasn't going to school at this point, but her big sisters were, and she wanted to wear the uniform. And it was way too big for her, and it meant I had to wash it again. But it was allowing her to have the opportunity to experience what her sisters were experiencing and continue to build the excitement around what she could look forward to.
So I'm not going to suggest that you force this and say, let's put the uniform on and you can wear it today.
Not at all.
If they've got the interest and if they're open to it, it just helps them to get used to how they've got to, do the button up, or whether the uniform fits properly, they can wear the shoes in. It just helps everything for day one.
Well, often those buttons are really stiff too because it's all new and starchy. The zips, they just need a little bit of a work in. Learning how to tie their shoelaces.
Yeah.
You can have lots of fun around learning to tie your shoelaces. Miss 8, she actually went to the shops and she said, I don't want Velcros anymore. I want to wear laces. And the shop attendant asked her if she could do laces, and she said, yeah, I do bunny ears.
Right. So Kylie, a couple of other ideas that I think are going to be useful for any parent who's saying, good luck, kiddo, you're on your own, it's big school time. I reckon knowing the teacher, having some sort of a meet and greet, some familiarity with the teacher, building a relationship, creating a level of involvement there is going to be really important. It helps to create that sense of safety and security that I've highlighted a couple of times. And classmates, to the extent that it's possible. Now, not everyone can do this, but if your kids know, if they've got friends from the neighbourhood who are going, I reckon it's great if they can build those relationships and extend that. The importance of relationships in the extent to which a child feels like they belong in a school environment, a school classroom, cannot be overstated.
I agree. One of the best things we actually did was one year when we moved schools, we said to the staff, we don't know if you can help us, but it would be so good if our kids could meet a few of their classmates before we go to school. And they organised it. They sent messages to a few parents who then got in contact with us and said, we'd love to meet you and your family. Why don't we go to the park?
Yep.
And it just made such a difference on day one having someone that was familiar.
Perfect. And I think that's probably about it. Obviously, if the kids are older, you can still try all of these ideas. They'll still be useful. In fact, the story that you've just shared, we had kids across the entire school spectrum from sort of the youngest years right up to the later high school years. It makes such a difference when the relationships are able to be developing and there's a sense that it's okay. I know someone here. I'm not going to be on my own. I'm not going to be isolated. I think loneliness is really the number one thing. I guess the other thing that I would say is if your child has any additional needs, a lot of parents are reluctant to talk to new teachers or a new school about their child's ADHD or autism or whatever else it might be. My recommendation is get on the front foot. Be there early. Talk to the teacher, talk to the principal, talk to whoever it is that you need to talk to and say, I wanted to get in here early and let you know because I want to have a really positive working relationship with you around this.
Well, you're pre-arming.
Yes.
It's about this is my child and this is who they are. And the more your teacher is aware, the more they're able to work with your child.
But what you're also doing is you're creating a unified approach. You're saying, we're on the same team here. I want to let you know I'm going to communicate clearly with you. I want you to be able to communicate clearly with me. These are the kinds of challenges that you might have. Here's how we address it at home. You get to work with the teachers. And most teachers, I mean, I'm in and out of schools most days of the year with my presentations, and most teachers that I work with are really open to that and really responsive to it. It's true that not every school has 100% perfection when it comes to teachers, but most teachers will respond really well.
Well, and sometimes it's not actually about whether or not the teacher's a good teacher or a bad teacher. I'm putting that in inverted commas there. But personalities, sometimes we just don't click.
Yeah, you don't even have to have ADHD to not click with the teacher sometimes.
It just is the way it is. But the more communication we can have, again, the better the experience will be, hopefully.
Well, we hope that these ideas have been helpful for anyone who's preparing their first timers for their first day of big school or the first day at a new school. Thanks so much for listening. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Ruan from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. Tomorrow, a big conversation. How many extracurricular activities is too much? How many is not enough? How do we know where to draw the line around that? It's all coming up on the Happy Families podcast tomorrow.